and continue putting on the high clearance links. Now there's something that we need to address before we put these on. Club 5 Racing has the short end at the skid plate. Hey guys, welcome back to Revolution XRC. Today I'm going to be changing up a few things on my Element Enduro Trailwalker. Before I continue on with the things I'm going to change up on the Element Trailwalker, I'm first going to go over some things that I did change that I haven't put on video. So since the last time I had a video on upgrading this Enduro Trailwalker, I've added some 3D printed parts to stiffen up the chassis. So you'll notice here that I've got two chassis braces for both of the shock towers right here, and I also have a chassis brace down here to stiffen up the chassis flex. So there is no chassis flex right now, and the stock shock towers are being braced by this piece right here. I will put a link to those 3D printed parts in the description below. Now my Enduro Trailwalker is running Class 1 tires, and the Trailwalker itself comes with 1.55 size tires. So with the small tire size, there actually is a clearance issue sometimes on certain rocks. So I would get hung up over here on these rear links quite a bit. It takes a little bit getting used to. You can usually drive around it. But to get rid of that, I will be using these Club 5 Racing Crawler Central Husky links for the rear. And these are specifically made for the Element Trailrunner, because the Trailrunner also runs an IFS front and 4-link rear. And so this only upgrades to the rear. And these are high clearance links right here, as well as the high clearance links in the rear. I'm also going to be changing up the springs in the front. Now, if you remember in my last video of this Trailwalker, I mentioned how I had to stiffen up the rear because the front was so stiff. Now I'm going to soften up the front a little bit, and to do that I will be using these Team Associated red springs, and they're rated at 3.9. I believe the IFS front springs or stock springs are rated at somewhere around 4.1 something. So these are a little bit lighter. These actually have been mentioned by Aaron Lane, the designer at Element RC, as being the ones that he used for testing the IFS kit before using these stiffer springs for the kit and the trail runner. Alright, let's get started with the springs first. It's the easier thing to do. Alright, here's a comparison of the two springs. You can see the red spring is a little bit shorter, but it should be alright. Now off the camera I did refill some of the shock oil, so that's some maintenance I've already done. Now we can adjust the preload because this is a shorter spring. And it should give us just enough preload. And the spring should pretty much stay in place. Alright, so let's go to the other side. You're going to want to do the same thing on this side as well. And I will also check the shock oil when off the camera. Alright, now I'm going to adjust the shock oil and we'll be right back with the shock oil in and get ready to put on the new springs. Okay, before I put this side on, I'm gonna adjust the preload because I know the springs are a little bit shorter. I think the other side is right about there. Yep, okay. So I put this on. Just cleaning some sand off. Alright, the spring's seated nicely. We're gonna go ahead and reattach to the IFS arm. And that is the swapping of the springs, and we can now go ahead and move on towards adding the high clearance rear links. Once again, these are the Club 5 Racing Husky links, the high clearance links for the Enduro Trailrunner. And the reason they say for the Trailrunner is because it only includes the rear links, because the Trailrunner also has the IFS front. And I'll put a link to these in the description below. Another reason I like these Club 5 Husky links is because they come with these Traxxas style rod ends. They're pretty nice. You can see there. Plastic's a lot better than the stock axial rod ends or the stock enduro rod ends. And they also come with metal pivot balls, which is also really nice. And to work with these links, I'll be using a ProTech RC shock pliers set. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend it. I will put a link to this in the description below as well. Now for these links, there's going to be two 121mm links. I don't know if you can read that. And two 115mm links. So the 115mm ones are the upper links, and the 121mm ones are the lower links. Okay, let's go and continue putting on the high clearance links. Now there's something that we need to address before we put these on. Club 5 Racing has the short end at the skid plate like this, or actually up here. Some people like to install them this way, with the long end at the skid plate and the short end over here. I am going to do it the way that Club 5 Racing has it, with the short end at the skid plate, and that's because I think this long end part of the link actually follows the contour of the drive shaft a little bit better than the other way. The other way, where you install it this way, it seems to expose this part of the drive shaft a lot more. So like I said earlier, I'm going to have to remove this brace because it does interfere with the high clearance links. So as you can see here, I had to remove this chassis brace because the high clearance link would hit it. Alright, the upper links are installed, and we'll now move on to the lower links. And there you have it. The Club 5 Racing high clearance Husky links for the Element Trailrunner are now installed on the rear of this IFS Trailwalker, because it is IFS like a trail runner. And you can see the rear links right here. You can see the extra clearance I have here now. Before, the links would go straight across like that. So I definitely gained some clearance there. So that should give me a little bit more clearance that I need, especially with Class 1 tires, and it should help it in performance. Also installed in this video were the red springs from Team Associated. I think they were 3.9 pounds. So they're softer than the stock ones, but still stiff enough for this IFS rig. And with the yellow springs in the back, it should be pretty good as far as balance goes. So I can't wait to get it back on the rock. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future videos on my Element Trailwalker. Thanks for watching.